Take his name tag for your collection.
It's a bad friend right there.
Yeah.
But that's also me. I would go. Hi, welcome to the Halloween episode of Lost Without Translation at the Movies. I'm Michelle.
And I'm Mike. And today we are going to watch the live-action Corpse Party. Corpse Party is a series that has been getting pretty popular in North America recently. There's been a lot of releases for it, a lot coming out. This movie just came out maybe a month or two ago. So we ordered it. It's available here and it's region subtitled, so that's great. Just a couple months before that, the anime came out, Tortured Souls, which we had watched.
Oh, yeah.
So we're going to talk a bit about that later. But we're going to watch this and see how this one is.
You guys are lucky because you're terrible at hiding. I can see you.
Alright, so we're done watching the live-action Corpse Party movie.
Yeah.
It was interesting.
It's hard to find a word to really describe it.
Yeah.
I almost want to say it was a letdown, although like some of the acting was really good.
There were some parts that were really good.
Oh, she's cute.
Yep.
Who wouldn't trust her?
First, we're going to go into the anime because we watched that earlier. It was a 4-episode OAV. Mm-hmm. Each episode was 30 minutes, so longer than usual. So it was about 2 hours. It was 2 hours, basically, which already is a short amount of time because the game is like over 20 hours.
Right.
So it's a lot to cram in. The first 3 episodes, I would say, do as good of a job as it can possibly do with that timing. But the last episode, it goes off the rails. It takes, it does the bad endings of the game. It changes stuff up a lot. There's no way you can make a sequel to that anime.
Oh, yeah. It was rushed. I feel like because they only had that one, they only had 30 minutes left, one episode, I feel like they really should have just made the series longer so they could do a true ending and do a better job of...
Even if they had just done 6 episodes of 30 minutes, I think you could have done the series justice. Mm-hmm. But it was, it just wasn't enough. The ending pissed me off. So the anime, I mean, it's hard to know to recommend it if you haven't played the game or not.
Well, I enjoyed it. Like, the story up until that last episode, like, the first 3 episodes was really good. Like, it was really intriguing. You got really, attached to some of the characters, and it was good. It was scary. It was what you would want and expect from Corpse Party.
It's considered the sequel to the hidden footage OVA.
Yeah.
How do you say that? Which we watched earlier too, but we cover that in the other episode, in the game episode, so you can check that out later. And it makes sense. It makes sense as a sequel because that first OVA covers only so much.
Right, it does tie in
before
nicely.
That, it is a nice kind of follow-up to that. But, again, if you've played the games, you might check it out of curiosity, but you do not need to. So, into the movie, which actually ended up suffering from a lot of the same problems.
Yeah, I was just thinking, like, it's another one, if you really love the game, you could easily do without seeing.
Yeah.
Because,
at only, like, 23 minutes shorter than the full anime, man, did they cut out even more, like, by a lot.
I was surprised, like, how much they cut out, and then the 1 or 2, like, changes they made did not improve the story. Like,
no. Hey, how many of them woke up together?
I think they all woke up together.
They shouldn't wake up together at all.
Yeah.
Teacher's there too, eh?
It must have simplified it for the movie.
If they can't separate them somehow, then there's not a good way for a lot of the events to happen.
Yeah.
A lot of this stuff happens when they're alone, right?
Right.
That should be in the custodian closet too.
I was going to say, is that the TV
film? Doing everything, to make it easiest. The other thing with keeping them all together is at least it gives you a chance to learn who they are.
That's true.
This would drive me crazy if it just dropped nine people into the story and you got to figure it out like as the movie goes on.
Yeah.
Janitor. Oh!
Wow.
That did not happen.
Taking some liberties. So I imagine how they're all going to split up now. Yep, there we go.
Yep.
2 by 2, yeah.
Thus you have to go off alone first.
Yeah.
Yeah, she has tripping her leg too. Before we get into it, maybe we should go back a bit. For those who know nothing about Corpse Party, it is the story of a group of friends in high school in Japan who one of them is leaving. One of their friends is about to move away, and so they have kind of a night at the school to celebrate her going away, and they tell ghost stories, and they have a charm that they want to perform. It's one of those Japanese charms that's like, we'll be together forever.
Yeah, like a friendship charm.
But it goes wrong. And they fall into a dark, I guess you call it dimension.
Yeah.
A past life of the school itself. There are so many rumors that no one knows if they're true or not about kids that were killed, a teacher that fell down the stairs, and all kinds of weird ghost stories that, come to play in this crazy dimension. And that's the kind of core of the series, of these kids trying to escape this school, and depending on the endings you get in the game, and you seeing them get killed in brutal, gruesome ways. And the movie and the anime both try and capture that.
And they seem to try and capture the same kind of big kills for the characters, which I liked at first in the movie.
Yeah.
But
one thing the game did really well was the atmosphere and the amount of gore or implied brutality, I guess you'd say, with the 16-bit graphics, because the original game it's built similar to RPG Maker. So the original game actually was built in RPG Maker. We go over this in the next episode, but we'll do it again here. It was built in RPG Maker. It had random battles. It had very few characters in it, but it was an RPG. And then they remade it for PSP several times. There were several remakes of the game, and the one that we got over here that you can download on your PSP or that just came out for DS is kind of the final version, where it has all the characters are introduced in it, the story is what it should be, and there's no more battles. It is designed like a 16-bit RPG. And the atmosphere is spot on. And the gore is very much implied. It's very gruesome for that. And I think that's, for both the movie and the anime, I think that's what they were what they wanted to capture. Not necessarily the story or do the justice of the relationships between characters, but instead to just show brutal scenes. And they did do that in both of them. And it feels lesser for it, right?
It didn't have that atmosphere though. Like it was just the killings. Like you didn't have that fear really of the ghosts.
Well, the anime I felt had a bit of the atmosphere.
Yeah,
the movie I think didn't. The movie was the school was a little too clean, a little too new.
It was.
And I guess it's harder to build a set that looks like the game, like the anime, but it's.
I think they should have made that effort. Like it didn't seem as run down. Like it didn't have that like scary abandoned feel like in the anime and the game. Like you're scared in that school.
Yeah,
like,
it's pretty freaky.
Yeah. This one just looked like a little dirty. It's like, oh, they haven't cleaned this weekend.
So, I don't think there is too much more to say without getting straight into spoilers. I think by now you've probably decided if you want to see it or not. I mean, if you get the chance to see it and you don't know the game, then you're curious, you might want to check it out. But for the most part, I would just say you could probably avoid it. I do recommend the game. Play the game. It's amazing. I would watch the anime over the movie, but I still can't recommend the anime. So that's our take on it. There's also a sequel to the movie. There's a second game in the series called Book of Shadows, which explained a lot of what happens. The game itself is frustrating because it's a lot of side stories and alternate dimension tales and things that are very difficult to understand how they relate to the main story unless you go look it up online later, because you'll just be dropped into a chapter that has almost nothing to do with anything or seemingly contradicts what happened in the first game. And you have to figure it out for yourself or just look it up online because it's too frustrating to figure it out on yourself. Anyway, they made a movie, apparently a sequel to this movie based on Book of Shadows, and I don't know how they did it because, well, we'll get into that in spoilers. Right. But we'll check out that movie at some point.
I was going to say we should import that one just to torture ourselves a bit more.
Well, this just came out a couple months ago, so maybe the other one will come out soon. We'll see. We'll have a chance to see it. Anyway, hope you enjoyed our look at Corpse Party, the movie. Like I said, in our next episode, we're going to cover some other Corpse Party stuff. We're going to cover the original OVA, Hidden Footage, and the spin-off game, Hysterical Birthday. Right. And I highly recommend you check that out because there's a lot of fun there. That game didn't come out over here, which is kind of our thing. There's a lot of fun there. Stick around if you want to listen to our spoiler talk and get more information on what we thought of what happens later in the movie. Other than that, we'll see you later.
See you. Not working, bro. Don't let him grab you.
But we just heard him break your back.
Yeah.
Come on.
It was a delayed break.
I guess, yeah. Fucking Dragon Ball. In 5 minutes, your back will break.
Yeah.
So right off the bat, so many problems with the movie. Oh, yeah.
I just gotta say, like, I was on board. Like, I was like, you know what? It's not exactly true to the anime in the game, but I like some of the acting. I'm happy with it. And then it got to the stuff with Yuka. And originally I was like, she's not quite what I expected, but I started to really like her. Yeah. And I was like, you know what? Like, I started to get scared because I know what happens to her. And I was like, I'm scared because she's so much cuter than I expected. And Sachiko was so much scarier. I was really worried. Oh, that's some good acting. That girl's creepy.
Oh, I didn't think they were gonna do it. They did it again.
Oh, she's so small.
Not good enough weapon.
And then they didn't kill her off right away, and I was like, oh, I got a little hopeful, but the ending, that destroyed me. I was so mad.
Alright, so let's dive right into that.
Yeah.
Forget chronology. Yeah, that was actually maybe the greatest part of the movie, and it had nothing to do with the game or anything.
Yeah.
But that...
Because it did surprise me. And
So, let's set up the expectation, because we'd seen the anime, so we thought they were going the direction of the anime.
Right,
so
yeah.
Okay, there's going to be spoilers for the game, too. Let's get that out of the way right now. Sorry, second spoiler wall. In the game, Yuka, what is it? Yuka lives. She gets through unscathed. There's a couple situations where she might die. There's bad endings where she does die, but in the good, true ending that leads to the sequel, she is fine and she gets out with everyone else.
The happy ending.
Yeah. In the anime, she is stabbed to death with her eyes poked out and everything by...
and it's horrific. I was so
by the Sachiko
horrified
ghost,
by that.
and that was brutal.
Yeah. And so when she didn't get her eyes poked out in this one, I was like, I'm like,
so
Yuka's gonna live.
In this one, they managed to cut out her tongue and then lose the rest of her okay.
Just only a couple stabs. Yeah. She might have been okay.
So she was, I don't know, they implied she wasn't dead, but she was unconscious from the trauma, right?
And there is the blood loss concern, but I mean,
they didn't really show any of that,
I was hopeful.
So they some of the other girls find her and carry her out and bring her to a room, and then...
That's not going to convince me more, I hope her. Oh my gosh!
Wow!
That's not how you put someone to rest. Oh my gosh! What?
You got tricked.
Oh my gosh!
Mochida gets there and thinks that it's the ghost's bodies in the basement. She thinks he finds Sachiko's body, and it attacks him, and he goes crazy, so he starts smashing it with a brick, and it turns out that Sachiko had tricked him into seeing her body where it was actually Yuka, so he was smashed in his own little sister's face with a brick.
Yeah. I could not believe. I was just like, it was an amazing twist. Like, it was smart, because for a fan it would be shocking, but it was too shocking for me to appreciate.
That and the scene where Sachiko has Yuta's umbrella.
Did you not hear that scream? Guess who?
That's the best part of the movie so far. Oh yeah, that was those
actually
two little
really
clips are maybe the only redeeming parts of the movie, because by that point you've already gone so far down this road of this thing that almost barely resembles the game,
right?
And you get at least a surprise, a nice little that's okay. You know what? If you're going to change it, at least do something interesting with it.
Because the umbrella was actually really like artful. It was scary, but also really cool. I liked that.
Yeah, it was great.
Yeah.
I would say the other cool part of the movie. Well, not cool, actually. I hate it. I don't know why. It's different. It shocked me.
It's cool, but I hate it.
The shocking part of the movie was how they changed Ayumi's character. Because in the game, in all versions of the story, Ayumi and Natsumi, what are their names? Natsumi's the other girl. They both love Mochida.
Oh, Naomi.
Naomi, there it is. Yeah, Naomi and Ayumi both love Mochida, but he doesn't really know because he's just a typical anime boy.
Yeah.
And Ayumi finds out that Naomi loves... Is it Naomi? Naomi loves Mochida. And she finds out in all versions, but in this version she gets vindictive about it.
Petty. Cherish that leg.
Awkward.
Yeah. Oh.
She has no reason to keep that, though.
Yeah, I know. Just pettiness. Just to let her worry.
Oh. She likes Mochito.
Oh.
No, this never happened. I think in the anime they used a piece from a different group. But she never faked a piece. She gives Naomi a fake piece of paper for the
reverse,
ritual at the end, the reverse ritual to get them back, knowing that with that she's not going to be able to come back. So that is so different.
Cool.
It is.
Like it's yeah.
It does set up the twist ending, which is similar to the anime. They both end the same way. In the anime, though, it's a mistake, whereas in this version, the movie, it's her vindictiveness.
Yeah. Why, mister, what's he trying to pull out?
He wants her piece of paper.
Oh. Do you need all the pieces? Because you have to go loot some bodies.
I don't think you do.
Because right now they just have...
Don't you dare.
Oh, stupid.
Where this is going to go with the wrong paper piece. How are they going to fuck up this ending?
So obvious it's not the right piece. It's so big. Oh, yeah.
That caused it to happen. So in both cases, Mochida ends up with a wrong piece of paper. In this case, he switches his with Naomi's, maybe by mistake, maybe on purpose, but I think just because he had both in his pocket.
I think it was, yeah, he was just holding them for safekeeping.
In the other one, they found a piece of paper, but it wasn't the right piece of paper. And so at the end of the movie, they perform the reverse ritual, and the two girls are, basically, Mochida just doesn't make it back each time, and in both of them, they're holding his limbs.
Yeah.
Right, so the rest of him is still trapped in the school world, dead, obviously. And it's a shocking ending for both of them, but it's not the real ending. And there's two more games in the series. There's Book of Shadows, which they apparently tried to cover, and Blood Drive, which is the real kind of follow-up. So
I'm very surprised they would go with that bad ending.
Yeah.
Like, with plans to make a sequel movie, they should have done the true ending.
And the sequel movie, here's the thing is, the sequel movie, Book of Shadows, the game, doesn't cover that much. Like, you could take some stuff out of there, but to make a whole movie out of it, because you wouldn't want to take all the stories, because a lot of them just don't apply. You would only want to take the ones that fit into the main timeline, and that's like 3 stories that are all pretty short. So actually, you could make an amazing movie based on Book of Shadows because you have the time to stretch it out.
That's true.
Right? To do it justice, those 3 scenes. But there's some big problems with this one, which is, in this movie, they don't introduce Naoho. And I think they can use anyone's piece as long as it was from their group. Speaking of which, they haven't mentioned any of the other groups.
Yeah.
No other students. I mean, they showed a
they
couple
didn't
corpses.
have the other Big Brothers, they haven't touched on it at all.
Oh, that was so good.
Scary. I'm amazed they wouldn't put that in just for like extra scare.
Oh, so they're not going to bring in another guy at all.
Yeah.
I'm wondering if they'll bring in any other students.
They have to bring in the psychic, I hope.
They have to bring in Naoho,
Yeah.
Other than that, I'm not sure.
Yeah, like psychic isn't going to be in it at all. It surprises me.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
She's so important to the story.
Yeah, like they're just... For the cat for a second. I can't get over they would cut that character.
They might be saving her for the sequel because there's not too much to do with Book of Shadows, but there is a big section of her. So.
But I feel like then they should definitely introduce her at least in this one.
Yeah. They're cutting so much.
That's true.
Like way more than the anime, and it's only, the anime was only 20 minutes longer.
Mm-hmm. Right, and that surprised me.
Which is a massive character. She's the reason everyone gets trapped there. She is so important to the lore of the series.
I also feel like she's a fan favorite, so I'm really surprised they would leave her out.
Yeah.
Even if you're saving her for another movie, at least introduce her now to get like fans excited and on board for the sequel.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So in the game, Naho is the one who discovers the curse, and her senpai, who is the occult, like one of those like ghost hunter guys, she discovers it for him, and he goes and uses it and ends up in the school trapped. So she goes in after him, but she also, like just out of pure spite that he went alone, publishes wrong instructions in an occult magazine. So that's why all of these students keep going, following, using this curse, and they end up in the school because it wasn't performed correctly. Because no one other than Naho knows how to perform it correctly. So they find her in the school, and she gives them information, and eventually they get to escape. I won't say she helps them because she doesn't. She's a real ass of a character. But she's so important to the lore and how people get there.
It was surprising because they had her senpai, they had the cameraman that you recognize from the anime and games. So I was really surprised they didn't have her
up front in the past. Yes, the cameraman dies in the back, the footage of the tape. Meanwhile, in the game, he survives so long that he meets all the new kids.
Like when they saw, when you see him getting close to the danger, I won't spoil it. I got worried. I was like, oh no, they're just trying to scare me. And then whoosh, and I was just like, what?
Right off the beginning, they kill Miss Yui, who survives.
That's true too. Yeah, they did kill some people very early on.
Oh, they changed it from 4 kids. To 3. They don't want to have another kid after.
This is creepy enough, I guess, for them.
And they haven't addressed it, but there's also like there's 2 instances like that happened first. And then he kills Sachiko, and then it's her ghost is reborn later, and that's who kills the kids and possesses the janitor. Like it's weird because it's hard to explain. Well, it was complicated in the game too. Sachiko got a new body for that time, but The mystical part where the principal throws himself off the school. Now he's trapped in this reality, throwing himself off the school over and over.
That's what he gets.
Let's just go what else. Like, what was different? There were no dimensions in this one, right? The problem, the thing about the game, and the anime covers this a bit, is when you're in the school, you're locked off in a different kind of plane. So 2 people can be in the same classroom and not see each other because they're in different dimensions. And it's more of a gimmick in the game to keep people from running into each other all the time, and to keep it so that like when one person screams, such a small school, why doesn't everyone run that way? Well, it's because they can't hear each other because they're in different places.
Although they did have some parts where people would scream, and I was surprised other people wouldn't hear it. So, but they didn't address it in a way that you would realize that's what it is if that's what they were going for.
So right off the bat, they cut that all off by having all the kids appear in the room together. So everyone's there at the beginning, and then they get separated by they got chased by the janitor monster, who immediately kills Miss Yui. Just setting up that kind of stuff. There is, none of the other characters from any of the schools are in there.
I was going to say that, yeah.
There is a character who is, very psycho, and makes it one of the coolest scenes in the game, or at least one of the coolest threads in the story of the game. Is really this character, who plays along with Yuta a lot, and you don't know if he's a good or bad guy, but then once you find out he's a bad guy, man, is he a bad guy. So that's gone.
Just none of like they didn't mention like all the students that had come before by failing to do the ritual right. Like you saw a couple bodies, and I remember they mentioned it. The senpai did in the flashback video, but they never touched on it, which was surprising too.
So just so many differences. I'm actually so intrigued now to see Book of Shadows, to see what the hell they do with it. I guess it could be that then they saved all the Naho stuff for it.
Maybe,
right? It could go back to this game, and I guess technically Book of Shadows you could do, as long as Ayumi is alive, you could do it.
Right.
But you couldn't do Blood Drive, because you need some of those people still alive to do Blood Drive.
How many survive in the true ending from the game?
In the game, the true ending has Mochida survives, Yuta survives,
Oh.
Yuka, Ayumi survives, the Naomi survives,
Oh, okay.
And
Yoshiki?
Yoshiki
Oh,
survives.
okay. So 5
So
out of 9.
5 people survive instead of the 2 who survive in this movie.
Yeah. It's much better.
Yeah. Again, they cover some of the main scenes. You know, they cover the hanging. Good job, team. Which is pretty cool. They cover the phone call that Morning Sheik gets, and they cover the
what happens to
Naomi's phone call when Naomi gets the phone call.
Right.
They cover some of that stuff, and it's really it's all right, but it's just, you know what, if you only want to spend, you know, an hour and a half, then you're probably best off watching this. But I do highly recommend playing the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, a lot of this stuff we already filmed for the Hysterical Birthday game and the hidden footage OVA. Really tie into this stuff. So if you want to learn more about Corpse Party, check that out for sure. It'll be going up the week after this.
Yeah.
Just in time for Halloween.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks for checking us out.
Thanks. Bye.